So we were going over the navigation menu using this. This is mine, that's all written up, but, and I was talking about searching for documents. Document search. Find by person isn't the best, title isn't the best, organization's pretty good. Document number. So again, you'd have to know what the number was. Grant agreement numbers are easy ones, although I don't know one off the top of my head.
I do.
Well, not for Charlotte's Web Transit though.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Document number searches, you can either have exact match or partial match. Partial match is the default, and that's probably the best. You could just enter the first few numbers. I'm probably not going to get anything. But. I'm going to go back to organization. All document types and all statuses and search. And there's not a lot here because I set these all up.
Well, the find by person, is that, I went over this earlier, but that's by the person who actually enters the date, like the person whose name is attached to that report.
It's the person who's logged in.
Oh.
So I just went back to this screen. I'm logged in as Charlotte Kavatica.
Mm-hmm.
So it's every document that I worked on.
Okay.
And like I said earlier, since most of you have not, the Sunset Empire people, and I think you guys, have not been working in OPTIS, you're not going to find any documents that have you attached to them at this point. So it's not the greatest search feature.
Yeah.
And document title isn't, because you have to know how someone labeled the or like, you'd have to know that this document is called Charlotte's Web Vehicle Purchase 12347 in order to search by title. So that's also not the greatest one.
Yeah.
And then organization and organization hierarchy are, if you search by your organization and you type in your organization or any sub-agency, it'll just give you the documents for that. But if you use organization hierarchy, it'll give you documents for all the agencies associated with your hierarchy. So that's the difference between those two.
Aren't all, if you do currently active search, you'll see only documents that have an X, correct?
Yes, that you have had something, well, no, if it's organization hierarchy, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true. So let's just try that. Okay, so it brought up documents that are incomplete. That's what the X means. And this is something you can play around with and find just by using it, you'll discover how you like to search and also what results in different things when you put the parameters on here. So I'm going to open this document here. Every document in OPTIS has a document number. So in this case, it's this number up here. But it also has at the very bottom a control number. Some documents in the system actually share the same number. The only one I know for sure is reimbursement requests and payment requests share the same number because they're so closely linked. It's almost like two halves of the same document. But they would have different control numbers. So this is a unique number that's assigned to every single document in the system if you wanted to go back to that particular document. I think Ivan uses that a lot when he's talking to the software developer. And it's at the very, very bottom of every document. So that's one of your search parameters. So I could go back to my document search and search by control
Julie,
number.
can you mute that?
Yeah. And put in this control number and search. And it finds that document that I just took it off of. But this has to be an exact match. So just another way of searching. 9 times out of 10, you're either going to be looking at document number because you happen to know the grant agreement number or something, or you're searching for your organization or organization hierarchy. So I was going through some of these, and I talked about these top 4 are really not that important right now because we're not using the application. And then you have your periodic reports, project header. I'm not sure why it doesn't have project detail too, but it's just the project as it was set up before it was attached to a grant agreement, because that happens first. And then you have your reimbursement requests and sub-grant agreements. And then I did open the sub-grant agreement I'll see it's not all, so it didn't show all of them. And so you can see that these 3 are complete. This one looks like it's being amended because it has a version number here. It's important to know that if your agreement is currently being amended and you go in to request a reimbursement against it, the system won't let you do that because it's kind of the document's not complete. It does occasionally happen, and it's not real clear. I'm not sure the message that you get when you're in the reimbursement request. It'll just say error or something. It doesn't necessarily tell you, you may not request reimbursement against this agreement because it's currently being amended. It doesn't say that. It'll just say error. So I would, if that happened, I would just go back and maybe do a search for all your agreements and see maybe the status, or you can, if you're in the agreement, it doesn't have an execution date up here. So that means it hasn't been completed yet. And this step over here doesn't say complete. It's at it does say complete step, but it's at the create stage. If it was complete, it would just say complete. So let me show you one of those. It doesn't show the steps at all because it's complete. Okay. Anyway, there's just a little quirky things that you'll get to know as you use the system. So let me see what else I can talk about. So that's searching by organization and all the different ways you can search. You can search by document number, status. You get this list. You can also expand this list to see a little bit more detail. It's not super helpful, I don't think, but it shows who is responsible for the document. So Ivan, Miley, etc.
One thing that window shows that I haven't found anywhere else where that issue date is, I think that's the date that the document was originally created.
Oh.
And sometimes that's useful to know how, especially if you have you've accidentally created 2 agency periodic reports and you're not sure which one was created when, you can find it there.
Good to know.
Uncommon.
Yeah, that's good to know. So when you are in a sub-grant agreement, I showed attachments, I think, but they weren't in. What was I going to show here? Oh, did you guys see the view PDF, the Sunset Empire people? This is how you would look at your grant agreement and actually see a picture of it. I think this is maybe where we were when you got here.
Yeah, you
Okay.
showed us right after we got here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's good to know, and the agreement.
Signature page. and then
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let me just see if I.
Miley, I'm sorry, how
Yes.
did you get there again? I've missed it 2 times in a row.
Oh, okay,
I did not look at it.
so I'm just clicking on the agreement number,
Okay,
and then up here, view PDF,
okay, all right.
and let it load.
Okay.
And then you can also print it after you let the PDF load. Okay, so then let me open this back up. So this one actually has had a payment made against it, an $80 payment, and you can go into payment history.
Where you can only find those for sub-grant agreements.
Say that again?
PR PDF. We don't have any, the one that we're looking in, the Sunset Empire one,
Mm-hmm.
there's no sub-grant agreements. So there's no, in our list, in our list of documents.
Are you searching for all of them?
Oh, okay, that's what it's doing.
That's why
So it's only looking under active.
Okay, yeah, see, I wish it defaulted to all, because then you're like,
Okay.
where are all my
Oh.
documents?
I didn't see it now, now we got some.
Good. So what I did here is I went to payment history, and let me just back up a second. So I'm in the sub-grant agreement, not the PDF, but just the OPTIS screen view of it. And I went to payment history, and you're gonna see, probably line after line after line here. And this little plus sign here indicates that you can expand this to see more detail. And what this shows is this particular $80 payment. and it's showing the STIP number, which you probably don't care about, the expense account and subjob, which is also an internal thing, the activity line item and the object detail, those are all internal to public transit. But then it shows the invoice date, so that's actually the date that either you mailed us, emailed us, or entered into OPTIS your reimbursement request. And then it has OPTIS batch, Teams batch, check number, and check date, and I'm going to talk about this more when we go into reimbursement requests. But you can tell by looking at this payment history where this payment is in the whole process. Obviously, we've received it, and that's about as far as it's gone right now because it hasn't been batched in OPTIS, so we haven't grouped it with other payments to get ready to pay it. It doesn't have a Teams batch number, and that's ODOT's financial system, so we haven't entered it into Teams yet. And obviously, so then there's no check number or check date. But you'll be able to go in and look at all of this. If you need a check number for some reason, it'll be here. And you'll see the dates that different things happened. And then it does have the running balance. And then if you open this, it actually opens up the grant payment request so you can see it. And so that's all accessed from the sub-grant agreement main page. So another way you can search for or view your documents is to use the overview feature. There's overview provider, and overview central file. The overview and the overview provider are the same. I'm not really sure why we have two of them. When we log in and internally, we don't see three, we only see two choices. So I'm logged in to Charlotte's Web Transit, and I'm looking at a sub-grant agreement that was written in the 09-11 biennium. If I click on Overview Central File, it will take me to this other screen that will have more details and it's actually not more details, it's almost like we're zooming out and seeing information about just that central file number because I clicked on Overview Central File. So this particular grant agreement didn't go through an application notice or header process. It started over here, and that's just because I created it really quickly as a training thing. It doesn't have a funding application, but it shows you your sub-grant agreements. Well, since I went in through a sub-grant agreement and I selected central file number, it only shows information for one grant agreement. Did I totally confuse you? So I'm in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I click the overview and it takes me to the overview screen for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There happens to be 2 here because it's in the process of being amended, but it's the same grant agreement. This is the old one, this is the one we're amending. And then it shows the corresponding reimbursement requests and payment requests for this particular grant agreement. If instead I had chosen central file overview provider instead of central file, and this may not be a great example because I don't know how many agreements I have in here for Charlotte's Web, it'll show me everything for the provider in that biennium. There we go. So now you see a lot more. It's showing all these application notices, application headers, most of which, I mean, you're more than welcome to go in if it's an actual link that you can open and see. It's just how we set up your projects and such. And this is all the different ways we could fund agreements. I don't believe these are live links for you, they're not. But then it shows all the sub-grant agreements and reimbursement requests for Charlotte Web Transit.
Why do some of those have X's on them?
Some of these over here?
Yeah, why does ordered list of projects have X on it?
Because it stays open until the biennium is over. And
Isn't that something only like I
think Ivan deals with it, yeah. So probably when you go into production, if you went into the 09-11 biennium overview screen, that would not be an X anymore. It would be
Well, that's what I'm looking at right now, an old grant, and it still looks open. It still says X by it.
But it's the ordered list of
Yeah,
projects,
the ordered
right?
list of projects says X by it, so that just never goes away, that's just always stays X.
It stays open until the end of the biennium, and there's some reason why we can't close it out. Like you wouldn't be able to amend agreements or anything if we close the master document that's upstream from it. So he has to leave it open in order to allow activity to happen on the subgrants that are written from those projects.
And the
That's the best way I can
911
explain it.
sub-grant agreement might still be open still because there still might be late stuff coming in.
Oh, yeah, or it could have been amended, or, yeah. Plus, this is, remember, what we're looking at is training, so this is
You're
really
right,
old.
so it's older.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Forgiving.
Yes, Francine.
Just because I see it. After you get, I think, 30
Yep.
reimbursement requests and payment requests, those
It condenses.
books with the numbers will go away, and all you'll have is a little button. that
I was gonna
says
show that,
view.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Um,
was a view 33 or whatever.
Because you have
Right.
50 different documents.
So, while I'm on the screen, I wanted to talk about something. Remember I said that reimbursement requests and payment requests share the same number? And as you can see, that's what's happening here. If you, and I'll talk about this tomorrow too, but if you create a reimbursement request and finish it completely, so you're gonna see the little open book, meaning it's done. OPTIS automatically generates the corresponding payment request. If you then you realize you made a mistake and you need to work on this reimbursement request and say, oh, that was totally wrong, we will go back into the system and you'll have to email us or call us. We have to delete the payment request and then reopen the reimbursement request, and then we'll forward it back to your queue so you can work on it. Once it turns into this open book, you can't work on it anymore without contacting us and having us get rid of this payment request that's farther downstream, and then reopen this and send it. And it happens a lot, and it's no big deal. It takes 2 seconds to go in, especially if you write this number down. The other thing you'll notice is I'm in the 0911 overview because I entered this overview screen from a grant agreement that was written in 0911. And you notice that the reimbursement request starts with 0911, and that's exactly what it is. So all reimbursement requests start, the first 4 digits are the biennium. So this new current biennium that we're in, they'll all start with 13, 15, and then there'll be 4 numbers. And that kind of helps you know what you're looking at and how old things are and whatnot. So you see the difference between overview central file, which just showed me information about one grant agreement or central file number, versus the overview for the provider where it shows all subgrant agreements. It does show you here that this is the master for 0911. The 4 just means it's the 4th biennium that exists in OPTIS. The problem with this is then you can't see everything all in one screen. You can see the 0709 biennium overview screen, you can see the 0911 biennium overview screen, you can see the 1315 one, but you can't see everything all at once. So you would have to still go into 3 different overviews if you wanted to see that much history. And again, it's all determined by which document you're in when you click on overview. And so since this was written in this biennium, it takes you to that overview screen. So is that somewhat understandable?
Although I agree about the X versus the open book,
Yeah.
it's very counterintuitive.
I think so too.
But is that on the would be nice side of things, or is that,
That was too bad, so sad
oh really?
when I brought it up. Yeah, it was.
Oh.
It
I
won't
know.
be changing.
Huh? No, that won't be
The
changing,
purple
sorry.
book is fairly-
Or no, in nicer terms, it's a training issue. Whenever they don't want to do something I ask, it's just a training. So that was a training issue. Okay, so that's the overview screen. We are in the process of making it a little simpler to where you could just go to the navigation menu over here and click on overview. You wouldn't have to first open up a document in the correct biennium and then go through it that way. It seems really hard to get to. So hard that if I hadn't told you that, you probably wouldn't, well, you probably would have clicked on overview, but you wouldn't have understood that too much, so.
Never.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Thought it that way.